Hello and welcome to an Everyday Canines video. This is the Garden Agility series, and in this episode we're looking at the flick-away. Okay, the flick-away. It's also known as a whiskey term or as a flick-flack. How it works is this. I send my dog to the back of the jump and then I ask them to flick away from me and round the opposite wing. So I'll show you with Swift. Swift, ready? Round, check, 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 get it. And ideally, I'll be moving on this line, so my dog is pushing away from me. Good girl. But I shall be continuing on this line because maybe I need to be over there for something. Obviously, you do it either side. So that was my around check, because my check is my right hand turn. If I was doing the other side, we do it as a loop because that's my left hand tight turn. You don't have to have directional wing wrap cues for this one. You can just use left and right. The thing to remember is if you've taught left and right, it needs to be your dog's left and your dog's right. So as I'm standing here, it looks to me like it's my left, but actually as the dog comes over, they're actually turning right. So you need to remember that you're going to be telling them right there, and that would be left even though you're behind. If you don't have bespoke directionals, you can still do this. You just teach it by teaching your dog to push away from you. You might use a bespoke word for that, such as you might go around, round and flick, say, which will mean to the dog, take the back of the jump and flick away from me. This is a move that you probably won't use that often, but especially if you're a distance handler, you're going to find it useful to have it in your repertoire. So, thinking about teaching it. Obviously, we need to have two components. We need to have the round the back, and we need the dog to understand a tight wing wrap. So when I'm starting to teach this, I would have my toy here. Swifties, come here, my mate. I would have it on that wing, the wing that I was sending them away to. Come here, my mate. And what I would be asking her to do first is a round, which means come in, and then check, check. Give her the cue so that she turns in. Now, of course, you've got to be aware of the potential for your dog to just run past the jump, sorry, Swift, and grab the toy. So if you've got a dog that might do that, then you need to have something. If it's a treat ball, have a treat ball they can't open themselves, or have something like a remote trainer, or potentially have a ball that you can have on a long string or something, so that you can put your foot on it so they can't just pick it up and play with it, so they can't self-reward. If they were really bad and were constantly doing that and not taking the wing wrap, the backside first, then I would say you need to work on your round the backs, because they should at all times, round the back means come over and take the jump. Thank you, my maid, you're just wrapping there for me, yeah? But you could also move this toy further in so it guides their line. The more confident they get, what you want to be doing is you want them to be doing it more on their own. You want to be helping them less. So obviously you want to move the toy out, but you also want to stop helping them. So when I first was doing it, I'd be round, I'd be really using my body to guide them. As you go along, you want to be standing quite still, and if the only guidance you will be wanting, and you can even drop this if you have bespoke directional cues, is to use this arm. So if I did it without words, we'll see what happens. Round, you'll see even on that arm cue, I've just got to go reward my dog. Good girl. She gets that, because that arm cue means you've done the round, you're going over that way. That is my cue. As you get better and better at this and your dog gets more confident, you're going to want to start doing it so that you can send your dog round and move past this wing as you go, because ultimately you don't want to be stuck behind this wing. That's a level we're not quite at, I will confess that. So let me see if we can do this. So I'm going to toss my toy out. Swift, come here. Sit, wait. I'm going to toss my toy out. Okay, ready? Break. Okay. Round. Listen. Ready? Come here, you're not listening. Ready? Around, round. Check, check, check. Now, because I'd seen she'd locked onto that toy, I didn't go as fast as I meant to. So let's try that again. Ready? Ready, ready. Around, round, check, check, check. So you can see she's getting on with her job, doing her flick away. I'm powering down my line. I'm at my next obstacle. She's gone wherever she needs to go for her next obstacle. And once again, we're ahead of ourselves. So, as you're training this, you're going to train one side, then you're going to train the other side. Here's just one thing to bear in mind. Some dogs really love flickaways, some dogs do not. And the problem you get is very few dogs like to do both the tight wrap cue that we showed you in an earlier one, as well as the flickaway. The most dogs have a favourite, and it's just in their nature. Now, with Swift, she's pretty good at both. So if I tell her to do a tight turn, she should. But sometimes when I'm asking her to do a tight threader, which we're going to look at in another episode, instead of doing it tight, she flicks away. That is something you've got to bear in mind. Once you've taught this manoeuvre, you might lose your tight turns. So it's important, firstly, to make sure that they're very clear and very different in the cue you're using and in your body movement. And secondly, you need to make sure that you work both of them. So when I'm working flickaways, I always work my tight wraps with them. So I do so many flickaways and then I go, Swift, I know there's a birdie. Ready, ready, rap, 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 rap. And I just go back to my tight turns, good girl, to make sure she understands the difference. And if you watch my arm movements, not only are my words different, so I've got an around, check, rap, 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 so the words are different, but you watch my body motion. So when I want her to flick away, it's round and it's my arm coming up. There's a bird, isn't there? I know. When I want her to do a tight wing wrap, my arm stays really down close so that she can see, she's got a visual aid there to know which move I want. And she will get it wrong at times. Good girl. Though more likely she gets it wrong in. But that's your flick away. That's the things to bear in mind. This one will take patience if you haven't got a dog that likes to flick away. If you have got a dog that likes to flick away, make sure you work your tight turns as well, because else you'll get a dog that always flicks away. I hope you enjoyed this video and I look forward to seeing you all again very soon. If you enjoyed it, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, find us on Facebook and Instagram. Cheers guys and take care.